So I've been really into intermittent fasting actually ever since the lockdown. That's when I started doing intermittent fasting. I got really into it during that time. And then I realized how much better I felt after skipping a meal. And so instead of eating 3 meals a day, I would just eat 2 meals and then fast through that meal. I'd sleep better. I would wake up with more energy. I wouldn't feel as bloated or uncomfortable towards the end of the day and then waking up. So I just got in this habit of always trying to schedule my meals to where I could fast through dinner. I know a lot of people like to fast through breakfast, but my thing is I like to skip dinner. What I do is I'll eat a normal breakfast. I usually eat something super nutrient dense like pureed vegetable soup. Sometimes I'll have a smoothie, but it's usually soup. So it's usually like a really light breakfast. And then for lunch, I'll have animal protein and some other stuff. So that's how I'm able to fast. I have to have animal protein for my lunch meal and then I can fast through dinner. Okay, so I've been doing this for about a year now. Obviously, there are some days during the week that I can't do it for whatever reason. It's a schedule. It depends on, intermittent fasting is actually like an eating schedule. So there's going to be some days you're not going to be able to follow your schedule because maybe you're going out to dinner with friends or something. So there's always going to be things that might like change up your plan for that day. But I would say like most days of the week, I always do intermittent fasting. There's this app for intermittent fasting called Fastic, and I've noticed that I've been using it every single day. And so it'll just say like you put in all your goals. And so my goal is to fast for 18 hours a day. So that means my eating window is 6 hours. I usually will eat breakfast. It's usually like 1 or 2 hours after I wake up. Whenever I feel hungry, I don't like to eat breakfast until I feel hungry. And then same with lunch. So it's kind of like different times every day. But if I can keep it within that 6 hour window, then that means I'll end up fasting for 18 hours. Now, I don't try and always make sure it's under 6 hours. I mean, sometimes it's within like 4 hours, which means I will fast for 20 hours. But anyways, so I want to tell you guys about this cool app. So it's called Fastic, and you just put in your goals and then it'll remind you to let the app know whenever you end your fast that day. And then it'll remind you to say when you start fasting that day. And then you can say whether you're going to skip breakfast or dinner. So it'll remind me in the morning, okay, your fasting is almost up. Go ahead and eat or whatever. And then whenever you're getting close to your fasting time, you just want to make sure you eat before that time or whatever works best for your body. And you can always change the times every single day. So then you put the times in and then it'll tell you if you reached your goal the next day. It'll tell me how many hours you fasted every day, and then it like charts it for you. And so you can go back and look at the last few weeks and you can see which days you fasted and for how many hours you fasted. And it's like so cool. And it said that I've already fasted like 300 hours in the last 2 weeks. And then it shows you what happens in your body while you're fasting hour by hour. And so like in the first few hours, your blood sugar is stabilizing. And then once it's been several hours after you last ate, that's whenever glucagon is released and it starts to break down the glycogen for energy, which is just stored glucose. And then once that energy has been used up from the glycogen stores, that's when your body will start breaking down fat. And that's why they say that intermittent fasting helps with weight loss, because it really does help you burn fat during that fasting period. Then once you get through that phase, then your body will start making ketones, which is just a byproduct of your fat being broken down. And then after that, so that happens around like 11 hours of fasting. And then once you get to like 14 hours of fasting, that's when the autophagy happens, which is when your cells start to eliminate waste. And then if they need to be completely like broken down, then it's called like autophagy. And I guess they just eat themselves. And then you eliminate that waste. It's like detoxification. And then your cells will regenerate and they'll like create new ones. And so it's just really cool how it explains it. I always feel so good when I fasted for 18 or 20 hours. It's not easy sometimes because you do feel a little hungry. Like if you skip dinner, I do start feeling hungry usually towards the end of the day. And so what I do is I'll drink fresh juice that I make, like vegetable juice. And, you know, some people might say, well, that's not fasting because you're drinking vegetable juice. But for some reason, it's still like, all it does is curb my appetite a little bit. And it's so nutritious. Like, it's just like all vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. I just feel so good the next day. So for me, I consider that fasting. Or I'll have tea or bone broth. But I won't eat any solid food. So I want to share the app with you guys because I just think it's so neat. But there's so many different intermittent fasting apps out there that you guys can try if you want to start trying intermittent fasting. And I also would say when you're starting your fast, you want to decide if you want to skip breakfast or dinner. And it's funny because a lot of people already skip breakfast, so they don't even realize that they're doing intermittent fasting. But once you start tracking when you last ate and then when you start eating, you'll start realizing like, oh wow, like I didn't eat for 18 hours, I didn't eat for 16 hours. And like that's actually intermittent fasting if you don't eat for 16 hours or even 15 hours. Like that can help you go through all those phases that I just talked about where you're creating ketones for energy and then your cells are going through autophagy. If you guys want to check it out, it's called Fastic. So this video is not sponsored. I want to show you guys my OOTD for the day. So I am on my way to go visit a new school because we're thinking about having Joseph go to a new school for elementary school. So this is what I'm wearing. The top is from Vici Dolls and it's a bodysuit. And then I'm wearing these black business casual pants and then these black flats. So I think it's a super cute outfit and I hope our tour goes well at this new school and we'll see if we like it or not. So I want to show you a simple smoothie recipe. So I'm just using these frozen berries and then I took this canned coconut cream and I poured it into ice cube trays to freeze the cubes and then I just put it all in a glass. And then I like using this Nut Pods creamer for the liquid, and it's the flavor French vanilla, and I think it's super delicious and creamy and naturally sweetened. And then you just pour everything in your blender and blend it up. And I decided I'm going to make it a smoothie bowl, so I just poured it in this bowl, and then I made homemade granola yesterday, and then I just put some granola on top. And I love this. This is one of my favorite things to eat for breakfast or a snack. I think it's so delicious and it's super nutritious too. So I want to show you guys some new tricks that I learned on the aerial hoop.
All night long, yeah. We dance with our razor tongues and all day long, yeah. We reset under burning sun, catching the waves, inhale, exhale. Reminiscing the bygone time, laugh till we cry, days flying by, flying by. Love on delay, push play, let it roll and take you away. Love for a day, replay. We don't care about what they say, and I go on, nah, nah. And you go on.